Hey there, busy woman. Welcome to Bible for the Busy Woman with me, Melissa Younger. Today I'm going to talk to you about the lineage of Jesus Christ, which is introduced at the beginning of the book of Matthew. Matthew 1 through 17. So, verse 1 says, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. So we know right off the bat this is about Jesus Christ. We know that he was the son of David, the son of Abraham. Matthew's audience would have understood that David and Abraham that God made important covenants with them, and the importance of Jesus being their descendant. And if we look at verse 17, this gives us a good framework for understanding this genealogy. So all the generations from Abraham to David were 14 generations, and from David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, and from the deportation to Babylon to the Christ, 14 generations. So the genealogy is divided into 3 sections, with a person or event to define each section. Now, God made a special covenant, as I said, with both Abraham and David. In Genesis 17, 1 through 8, God says he will multiply Abraham's descendants, make him the father of many nations, that kings will come from him, and that God will make an everlasting covenant with them. And that in other passages, God adds to that, and he talks about this seed that will come from Abraham. So just kind of keep that in mind for now, and we'll move on to the next covenant. In 2 Samuel 7, 8 through 16, God tells David he will make his name great. He'll appoint a place and safety for Israel. He'll make David a house. He'll establish his offspring. He'll establish a throne forever. That there's going to be one who will come from David who will rule forever. So just tuck that away as well. And when we follow this covenant to the last section, okay, so the first was Abraham, first section of the lineage. The second followed the Davidic covenant. And the third section starts with the deportation to Babylon. So you might be a little confused and say, why not throw someone great up there? Why not a prophet or something, right? And this is to emphasize the disobedience, okay? Because there was another covenant that was made in between the Abrahamic and Davidic covenants, the Mosaic covenant. And this is an important one because it was conditional. So you might remember the 10 Commandments, or Mount Sinai, or God speaking to Moses in thunder and lightning. God made a covenant with the people of Israel that he would be their God and protect them and lead them if they followed his laws. And did they? No, of course they didn't. They were disobedient for 700 or so years under the kings, and they worshipped false gods and followed pagan practices. And those hearing this genealogy would have known these covenants and grasped the importance of Jesus being their descendant. But the Gentiles listening would have heard names like Rahab, who was a non-Jewish prostitute. So I'm not going to spend time with all the names here. We don't really have time for that. But I would encourage you, I'll leave some information down below. I would encourage you to go and look at the stories of some of those people if you want to. But right now, what I'm trying to do is just give you kind of a big picture overview of what this passage means, what we're supposed to take from this with us. So the big picture is that Jesus comes from a line that's a bit of a mixed bag, but that God was working out his plan and still upholding his end of the covenants that he had made. And he was faithful when Israel wasn't, and he was fulfilling his promise to bring salvation through Abraham's seed and an everlasting kingdom through the line of David. So we can see through this lineage that God wants to use all kinds of people in his great plan, and that we can count on him to do what he says. So the question I'll leave you with today is, what's your response to this news? That he has faithfully provided Jesus as the promised Messiah. What's your response to that? And so I hope that's an encouraging word for you today, and you can leave a prayer request, testimony, or comment below. Love to hear from you, and I'll try to respond to everyone in a timely manner.